everyone, welcome to LexTalk World Talk Show presented by Clickaway Creators. Today we have Arnav Shah with us. Arnav is a principal associate at Cyril Amarchand Mangaldas, where he practices in the general corporate group advising clients on inbound and outbound M&A and investments and other general corporate matters as well. He specializes in advising on public M&A transactions, namely takeovers, delisting, and other corporate transactions involving listed companies. Arnav enjoys engaging in dialogue regarding public M&A practice in India and is also actively involved in alumni community of Columbia Law School and Government Law College. And if I'm not wrong, he is very much, he has a keen interest in scuba diving. So, but without any further ado, let me just introduce you to Arnav. And first question that I'm going to ask him is about scuba diving. Hello, Arnav. How are you?
I am well, Bharti. How are you?
I am amazing. I'm amazing. Thank you for asking, Arnav. Scuba diving, how did that come along? Let's talk about that first.
Sure. So for me, an interest in scuba diving, I developed by trying it out on one of our vacations. So after trying it once, I genuinely just fell in love with it. So since then, it's been, 5-6 years now. So all of my holidays are planned around, at least getting into the water once, to dive, at least putting one day aside to see, the underwater flora and fauna in different places. And I've been lucky, I would say, because I've had the opportunity to dive in various places around the world. One of the most memorable would probably be diving in the Great Barrier Reef in Australia, which was a lot of fun and a hell of an experience.
That's just amazing. That sounds amazing, actually. I don't know how does it feel like. Is it scary or adventurous? I don't know.
It is an adventure sport, and all adventure sport come with their inherent risks.
Yeah.
But that is why you train, and if you are careful and calm and how would I say, follow the advice of people more experienced than you, then you will generally come out of it unscathed, and you will have an experience that you will be talking about for years to come, because it is just amazing.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much for answering that question. Arnav, please brief us about your journey as a legal professional so far, like how it has been, how did you end up into the legal space first thing. So sure. We're really excited to know about it.
Sure. So I would say my legal career, or I would say first, let me start with my legal education. My legal education started out at Government Law College. And then I finally did my master's at Columbia Law School in New York. Both amazing institutions and great teachers. I learned a lot, made amazing friends, people who I'm still in touch with. For my professional journey, I started out at Wadia Ghandy Co. Then I was at Talwar Thakore Associates. And then I was at Cyril Amarchand Mangaldas, and basically have continued till my current position. I have been very lucky in my legal career that I have always had great mentors, people who have spent time to teach me, to guide me, to make me a better lawyer. And I can confidently say everything I am now is a mix of, I would say, effort and all the guidance that I've received from all my various mentors over the years. So it has been a great journey. The legal profession is not easy. It's not for everyone. It's very detail oriented and can be very challenging. However, finding the people you want to do good work with is sometimes and most often a better approach than trying to chase money. And that is what I've always tried to do in my career. And I've always found it rewarding.
That's lovely. Arnav, thank you. Thank you so much for throwing light on your journey. Now coming back to one of my most favorite questions about the memorable cases, but here I'm going to change it a bit. I'm going to ask you the most complex matter that you have had, if you're comfortable discussing about it, and any key takeaways.
Sure. Actually, so there was a matter that we did recently, which was the acquisition of CG Power and Industrial Solutions Limited. Now, this is a listed company which was under stress. Now, this is probably one of the most complex deals that we had done, which involved various teams. So, the company was acquired by the Murugappa Group through their company Tube Investments of India Limited. Now, when dealing with a listed company, every time a company is being acquired, you are required to make a takeover offer to the public shareholders. Now, this requires, so there is a lot of, from an acquirer perspective, there is a lot of leakage of cash. So, especially in cases where there is a stressed asset, it becomes a very difficult acquisition and it becomes very challenging. Now, this is something that SEBI had heard from all the market participants, and they had introduced a new section under Regulation 1 called Regulation 164A within the ICDR regulations. Now, this allows for a takeover of a stressed company, a listed stressed company, through preferential allotment. So we had structured this deal under 164A of the ICDR regulations. Now, it was in no way a simple transaction. This transaction involved the target itself, the various lenders, obviously, because it was a stressed asset and an NPA. So the deal had gone through a Swiss auction process. Now, this was the first Swiss auction process, and this was the first resolution of a listed company outside the IBC framework. So this framework allows you to resolve the stress asset before it even goes into the insolvency and bankruptcy code framework. So this we had successfully done. It was the first deal under both this Swiss challenge mechanism and under Regulation 164A. Now, it was a Herculean effort, and it was a complete team effort, not only from the CAM side, but also from the from the client side. The teams had worked tirelessly for long hours to get this deal through, and the complexity of the deal was the fact that it cut across practice areas, right? So you had the corporate team, the finance team, the litigation team, everybody advising and coming together to make this deal possible. So that would be one of my key deals that we have done, which was extremely complex, but in the end extremely rewarding and very beneficial to the clients. And the clients were also very happy with the work that we had done. So yeah.
Wow, the way you approached it was quite different. Can you just throw light on the challenges as well, like more challenges?
Sure. So the challenges faced when doing such a deal, one is it's a tripartite negotiation. And anytime you're negotiating with more than one party, it becomes a little difficult. So it's a tripartite negotiation between the acquirer, the target, and the lenders. So that is one of the one key challenge. The second key challenge was it had become a stressed asset at an NPA. So there are various litigations, allegations of fraud, etc., against the erstwhile promoters of the company. Now, those liabilities had to be examined in detail to see how and what ring fencing could be done to protect the acquirer who's coming in and trying to revive the business. The third challenge was that these provisions were completely new at that time. So the processes, the approach that would be taken by the stock exchanges, by the SEBI, we had to really dig down deep and figure out what would be the best way to structure the transaction and how should we approach it so that it would not be an issue from a regulatory perspective. So the key takeaway from doing such a deal is knowing that you have done a cutting edge deal for the client and given them a satisfactory outcome. And then obviously the various learnings along the way.
Of course, and it's just one of the matters that I've asked about. There must be a lot more.
Yes, we have.
Okay. Arnav, so now we are living in a completely different world. Like pandemic has obviously changed our lives. At the same time, technology was already taking over us. In this era of legal technology, what are the mostly common used tools for you?
Sure. So I think Cyril Amarchand Mangaldas as a firm has an amazing IT support and IT system in place. So when there was the lockdown, we had seamlessly moved to working from home. Some of the main systems that we use are the Citrix workspace system, which allows us to access our desktop from any computer anywhere. Zoom, Teams, and now even the clients and all the lawyers are well versed with using all these tools for deal making during the pandemic. And everyone and these tools seem to be here to stay. It will be a long time before people are comfortable meeting physically again. And during that time, it is going to be these tools that are going to be used for deal making to bring about further efficiency in deal making and saving a lot of time for a lot of people.
Coming back to your specialization and your expertise, Arnav, how do you look at M&A transactions in 2022, and how do you think it's going to change, let's say, 5 years down the line?
Sure. So M&A transactions in 2022, I think, will be focused on the sectors that have been brought into focus by the COVID pandemic. So the post-pandemic world is very different from the world that we started, or the world that we were in before the pandemic. Now the companies that were agile have made the most of the pandemic and in fact have gained market share. Now these companies are going to be in a cash-rich position, and they are going to be looking out to buy other companies for inorganic growth. So 2022, I'm looking at, I think, the companies which are cash-rich, that have made the most of the pandemic and have been agile and have reinvented themselves during the pandemic, will prosper and will be looking to acquire suitable targets. Now, correspondingly, as there have been winners, there have been losers during the pandemic. The companies that have failed to innovate are going to become targets for these acquirers, and that is what I think is going to happen during the 2022, a spate of consolidation around, where all the cash-rich companies will start to try and buy assets or businesses at a discount, especially the ones that have failed to reinvent themselves. Now, this also will be probably focused on some of the sectors that we have seen high activity during the pandemic, sectors such as technology, health, pharma. So these sectors are again likely to see a lot of activity in 2022. Over the next 5 years, I see a lot of deals happening, especially now that we have all the Indian unicorns starting to list. Now Zomato has listed, all the other Indian unicorns are trying to list or have already filed papers and are about to list. Now these companies have now joined blue chip companies like Infosys, TCL, etc., HCL, etc., etc. Now these companies will be competing for investor money along with all these blue chip companies. So now is the true test for these Indian unicorns to see whether they can survive as listed companies. Now, if they do well, which I hope they do, they will also be in an extreme cash-rich position, making them either making them look for new acquisition opportunities or making them very attractive targets for even bigger companies for consolidation. So over the next 5 years, I see all of these Indian unicorns being very involved in some of the biggest deals that we will probably see in the market.
Thank you so much for a great insight on M&A transactions and its future. Arnav, coming back to your time management, like, we all know, I have been, associated with LexTalk for a long time now, and I've been in touch with a lot of legal industry experts. So I kind of know that you guys actually do not have time. How do you manage your time? Like, how do you ensure that you make the most of it as a lawyer?
Sure. So for managing time, I try to work efficiently. You try and do as much as you can and try not to leave it for tomorrow. That is probably the easiest way to get ahead of it. The transactions and the time generally also happen in spurts. So there will be times when you have 22-hour days, continuously for a week. But then after the transaction is done, there is generally a little bit of breathing room. So it is very important to, take breaks at that time and take the time to keep yourself healthy, take a break, take your mind off work for a little while. And that generally keeps you centered, and that helps a lot.
Thank you so much, Arnav, for sharing such great insights on everything. Starting from your journey, from the complex legal issues, and also about M&A transactions. We really look forward to having a chat with you again. Honestly, it was such a wonderful conversation, but sadly we have come to an end of it. But we'll be meeting again soon to discuss some other trending topics in the international legal industry. And for our viewers, if you like this chat with Arnav, please like and share this video, and also subscribe to Click Avid Creators YouTube channel to appreciate what we do, and you have more coming from industry legal leaders. This is Bharti for LexTalk signing off.